Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. My name is Muhammad Asrul Adli bin Muhammad Rusli, and today our group will be talk about Summa Theologica by Thomas Aquinas. Let's take a look on the introduction. Background of the study. Summa can be seen as encyclopedia arranged by the theologians and philosophers. This point of view also can be applied to the Thomas Aquinas Summa Theologica that discuss about the existence of God and the problem of evil. This writing has become one of the most important and infamous reference in the field of philosophy and theology. Hence, this writing should be properly understood. The research question for this study is: first, what is Summa Theologica? Second, does God exist? And third, what is the problem of evil? And the research objective for this study is to discuss about Summa Theologica, to analyze the existence of God according to Summa Theologica, and analyze the problem of evil according to Summa Theologica. The scope of the study is: this study will explain about Summa Theologica and discuss about the existence of God and the problem of evil according to Summa Theologica by Thomas Aquinas. And the research methodology used in this study is using library and information science research methodology. The information has been collected based on the methodology is through literature review such as book, texts, articles, and e-resources such as websites and blogs. Source of information included in the writing are cited using the author-date system and using style. In accordance with the context of the study, this methodology can help to better understand the study and achieve the objective of the study. Now, let's take a look about Summa Theologica. What is Summa Theologica? Summa Theologica, also known as Summa Theologia, can be translated as the summary of theology, was written by a theologian, Thomas Aquinas, who lived in the 13th century. This summary has become a main reference of theological teachings in Catholic Church as guidance for theological students. The summary mainly discussing about Christian theology and a cycle between God, creation, man, man's purpose, Christ, and sacrament. Even though the summary is said as an incomplete summary, Summa Theologica is one of the Western history of philosophy in literature. Summa Theologica, also known as the mature and perfect work of Thomas Aquinas. Now, let's take a look on the Summa Theologica structure. Summa Theologica contains 3 parts and divided into 614 questions and subdivided into 3,125 articles. Questions are specific topic of the discussion, and articles are the corresponding of the question. Plus, articles are more specific facets of the main question. The first part, or prima pars, contains 190 questions and 584 articles that touch on the existence and nature of God, the creation of the world, angel, and nature of man. On the other hand, the second part subdivided into 2 parts, which is the first part of the second part known as prima secundae, which includes 114 questions and 619 articles that general principles of morality and theory of law. Second part of the second part, known as secunda secundae, contains 189 questions and 917 articles discussing about morality, in particular including individual virtues and vice. The third part, or tertia pars, includes 90 questions and 549 articles that explaining about the person and work of Christ, who is the way of man to God and the sacraments. In this part, Aquinas left it undone. Then the summary contains supplement part that includes 99 questions, and 446 articles, which is the third part and the Summa conclusion that is continued by other theologians. This part also treating of Christian eschatology, or include the last thing. Finally, the summary contain Appendix 1 with 2 questions and 8 articles, and Appendix 2 with 1 question and 2 articles, which both of it discuss the subject of purgatory. Now let's take a look on the article format. Thomas Aquinas has a massive respect to Ibn Rushd, hence the method of exposition undertaken in the articles of Summa is derived from Ibn Rushd. The standard format for the articles of the Summa are as below. First is Parateria, a series of objections to the yet to be stated conclusion are given. Mostly, this conclusion can be extracted. Second is the phase set contra in the beginning, which mean on the contrary. A counter statement and almost always reference authoritative literature such as Bible, Church Father, and Aristotle. The third is the phase respondio descendum quod conversatio in the beginning, which mean I answer the actual argument and generally a clarification of the issue. And the fourth is individual reply to the preceding objections that can be one sentence to several paragraphs in length.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Mukhlis bin Rahimi. My metric number 1192772. Now I will continue discuss about the existence of God. Firstly, Thomas Aquinas used the method of philosophical approach and intelligence in proving the existence of God. He said that the theology is not understood by philosophy alone, instead can help in achieving the goals of theological method. Moreover, Thomas Aquinas insisted that for human, it is impossible to acquire true knowledge without God's help. Because God has the power to turn reason into action. Summa Theologica is suitable for everyone to know God. Next, question 2, part 1 in Summa Theologica is connected with the existence of God, where he divides it into 3 subdivisions. Article 1 is about the propositions that God exists is clear. And Article 2, he conclude that it could be proven God is exist. And finally, Article 3 discuss about Thomas Aquinas present 5 ways to prove the existence of God. First way of Thomas Aquinas God's existence is the argument from motion. He stated that the existence of all these motions is due to the existence of the prime mover. He reasoned that the series of movers must have begun with a first or primal mover that had not itself been moved or acted upon by any other agent. The prime mover stated by Thomas Aquinas is God. Okay, the second ways from the 5 arguments are causation. This concept was used by Thomas Aquinas to convey nothing is the efficient cause of itself. This is due to the fact that in order to be a cause, it must first exist before. Series of causes must go back to the previous cause, and all the causes that occur in this world must start from the main cause, which is God. The third argument brought by Thomas Aquinas about the existence of God is that the argument from contingency. From arguments in his treatise of angels, Summa Theologica, there is a question: do spiritual beings really exist or not? The answer is that the world would not be perfect without them. Angel existence, according to him, was to achieve the perfections of the universe. He He insisted that there are random things in this world that may or may not exist, and argues that they cannot exist on their own. Okay, the next theory used by Thomas Aquinas, which is the fourth way in the degree of perfection of the universe. All creatures in this world have varying characteristic of perfection. Some are good, some are noble, and some are contrary of that. Therefore, this must also be something which is to all begins the cause of their being, goodness, and every other perfections, and this we call God. Finally, argument from final cause of ends. Thomas Aquinas has applied the cosmological theory of how to organize the nature which is human cannot control it. There is something intelligence behind it which is God. The theory is enough to convince the intellectual God is real. The questions of humans not be able to control the fitness of their body is due to the presence of the main controller who guide them, which is God.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Mohamad Syafiq bin Yusop. Metric number 1191843. Now I will continue talking about the problem of evil in Summa Theologica. The existence of evil has become a fundamental problem in the lives of all mankind. Man experiences the presence of evil in the present world because there are calamities, earthquakes, floods, and other destructions. Even in man, evil exists when he chooses to do evil. This is known as moral evil. In a philosophical sense, evil has no substance as it is only considered as an accident. Normally, substances and accidents must coexist. An accident cannot exist without a substance, and a substance cannot exist without an accident. It is because substance and accident tend to mix. With this problem, most people believe that every deprivation of good is an evil. They believe that everything created in this world must be good. God did not create anything without a purpose. Okay, next slide. Everything has been created has a purpose. As a result, people have always been limited in a particular frame, and consequently, people have abounding God and claim that everything was created in evil. In his book, Summa Theologica, St. Thomas Aquinas raises an important question. Is it whether evil corrupts everything that is good? And is God the ultimate good? Is the source of evil? In general, there is a vast difference between good and evil, each of which has its own category. According to Aquinas, further evil is not a being, whereas good is a being. Because evil is not a being, it must exist in the presence of good as its subject. Because good is always good, there is no evil in the presence of good. Okay, next slide. However, evil has the power to corrupt the good. That is why the subject, which is man, is easily tempted, destroyed, and influenced by evil. When a man is tempted, he or she cannot see God's goodness because evil cannot imagine anything good, only evil. The second question is whether God, the ultimate good, is the source of evil. Now, God is not the cause of the evil that exists. Therefore, God cannot be the source of evil. God made the world good so that evil could not exist. God cannot come from evil as it is must come from absolute good. St. Thomas Aquinas defined evil as the privation of good. However, not every privation of good things is evil. For example, if a man is born without eyes or is blind, we cannot call it a privation of good, but rather the absence of good. God did not create anything without a reason. We must see with God's eyes so that we do not see God as evil. St. Thomas Aquinas attempts to say that God is not responsible for any privation of good. He claims that evil is not a being and it is rather accidental rather than having a direct cause. Evil cannot exist if good does not exist. Thus, good is required for evil to exist. Okay, next slide. Beyond that, St. Thomas Aquinas solved the problem of evil by describing, solving, and providing a solution that inspires us to be aware of it and its consequences. Though God is the cause of everything, evil is not caused by God. For instance, the AIDS virus, we know it's a bad thing because it is visible from a homocentric perspective, but it is not evil to God. It may continue to balance the population. However, another great disaster will occur if the population increase. It does not imply that God is the source of evil. It is God's plan and because our human intellect is limited, we cannot comprehend God's creation through reason. Though physical and natural evil are determined by natural factors, moral evil can be avoided through awareness and living a moral life.
Okay, lastly, the conclusion. Philosophy is a scientific discipline that pursues general and fundamental truth. From the discussed above about the philosophical, we can conclude that Thomas Aquinas is a very experienced and skilled man in various fields. He is also highly respected by the public due to his personality, which enables him to inspire others to study in various fields and make us all have a first-class mind. The thoughts and teaching made by Thomas Aquinas create harmony between religions and reason. Thomas Aquinas was a very influential philosopher in the Middle Age. So, his book Summa Theologica is a very suitable as a reference for those who want to learn about Christian theology and a cycle between God, creation, and many more about life.